How do you do? Today's band comes all the way from Texas, from the city of Houston, the place where all their space shuttle thingies and whatnot. It's also a home to this band which combines progressive rock music to extreme metal and some female singing with a beautiful voice. How does it compute? I don't know, but we'll find out when I start talking about this album for real. So let's take a look without further ado what this album is made of. Now, Horses of Slumber, an American band, quite new one. This hasn't been even there for a decade, and already this band is out with 3 albums. This being the newest one called The Banished Heart. And what a beautiful cover there is. Let's do a little bit unboxing here. So remove the ads. The CD obviously. And I'm gonna show you a little bit of the booklet and the picture here because it's actually quite nice. Not atypical for a metal album, but then again, neither is the music here because this is not a typical metal album. So let's start with the inlay. As you can see, there's this beautiful lady with a heart in her hands, a bloody heart, I might add. The vanished heart, seemingly suffering a lot. So here's the lineup picture. A woman in the middle and 4 guys, maybe looking more metal than the lady here. And again with the cover, I know it's a little bit dark. It's not something that you can see easily in the not other than good lighting. So again, there's this bloody heart and this almost naked lady. What a peculiar sight. So inside, the same style continues, even more blood with the organ, more lyrics, and this is the idea. There's a lot of repetition with the idea there, so make sure this is a bloody heart. And yet again, the lady holding the heart. So, I don't know, kind of a classic feel with this booklet, picture and everything. Not very metallic as such, but then again, I guess that is the idea because this is not a typical metal album at all. Now, I don't know where to actually try to begin, so let's start with the singing part. Now, at first, this album kinda draws your attention, or at least did for me, with the beautiful, clean female vocals. Kind of a popish, actually, not so much metallic in a way, but very talented, very beautiful, lots of skill there, but also in a way that is not very common metal music. For some reason, and I cannot totally put my finger on it, why, this kind of reminded me of Evanescence, but not as poppy and kind of easy to approach, but more like an artistic version. I don't know if you can understand what I mean by artistic, but once you hear a track or two, I guess you get the idea. Now, that is the first thing that actually caught my attention. The second is that this band is kind of playing progressive rock or rock metal, whatever you decide to call it. The thing is that these guys are actually seemingly experimenting a lot, be it guitars or drums or whatever. It seems that a hell of a lot is going on all the time, and that is not a bad thing. This album is full of kind of a nice details and ideas that could be very well developed into something great. And why I said it would, because the thing is that I found it really hard to actually enjoy this album as much as I wanted to. And the reason is, or the reasons are rather, quite a few. The thing is that these songs are usually more lengthy than what's actually good for them. Songs being like 6 to 9 minutes even, and they are, bouncing back and forth from different corners and, going like headless chickens, like the saying goes in Finland. I mean, the thing is that while these guys are hugely talented in, with their instruments, sometimes it feels like they're experimenting too much and not focusing on the compositions as such. So it's not about like bad riffs or wrong kind of ideas with the songs as such, but the compositions are not kind of something that makes me too fond of this album. It's just like, let's say there's a music college and there are guys, trying to learn with, all the riffs and piano and drums and all that stuff. And then they get kind of enchanted by their own ideas. They become kind of like lured into, playing very technical thingies, be it, guitar riffs or bass lines or whatever. And they figure out that they have so much material which they just have to put on one album, and boom, suddenly it's just way too much. Then it becomes this huge editing process, with let's clip this one out, let's put this one in, and let's add that one and that layer, and we need those vocals and we need these bass lines and that drums, and boom, it becomes overwhelmed, or at least this is how it feels to me as a listener. Now, like I said, it's not like I don't like the details with these riffs. It's not like I don't like the vocalist doing her beautiful voice and all that stuff. It's not like I don't like the drums, which I in fact do. I like because they are doing so much stuff there. It's kind of like an opposite of monotone, basic blast beat stuff, which is so often heard with death metal albums and all that stuff. But the thing is that there are basically too much stuff on the album. It's over 60 minutes long, which basically makes all the songs a little bit too lengthy for their own good, at least in my opinion. But the worst thing is that while these guys are quite good with their progressive metal stuff, and they're surely capable of, playing all kinds of metal, it seems, when there are these kind of a blast beat parts, where the drums is, drummer is just, going crazy with, blast beats and, details and drums and cymbals and all that stuff, the kind of popish, clean vocals hardly actually fit that. It feels like they are from different sessions. There's this drummer going crazy with his drum kit, and then there's this guitarist who just tries to shred and put all the lead guitar materials all there, and then there's this vocalist which is just like from a different album. And there are even parts where guitarist and vocalist are doing their stuff and the rest of the band is doing something else, or then the vocalist just feels like misplaced. It's just like weird tracks are put together and like shaken and like, let's hope that it works, and then put out, which in my opinion is not a good idea. I mean, the production, makes this album kind of a sound nice and, heavy and detailed and whatnot. But I had really hard time actually enjoy a single song, because when I was focusing on the vocals and kind of liking them, I wasn't liking the music, and vice versa. And then there are some mandatory, kind of a semi-growly parts with, guy doing his death metal attempt or whatnot. And it feels even more like awkward, like, why are you doing that? This song is absolutely not need of some growly parts. It is just as good as it can be with the, vocal parts, from the female vocalist that is. And even though there's kind of a sad atmospheric thing, especially when going towards the end, to me it kind of sounds like not all these guys are not sure what they're doing. It feels like this is the music college guys and girl or woman putting these things together, and just, like everybody wants to have their own share. It's like a bad idea of democracy, and to me it doesn't work. I'm not saying that this is a bad album. I think this is actually a little bit better than a mediocre album. But those not so good parts are kind of ruining it for me. I mean, in the sense of this being actually just actual good album. So what could be done, in my opinion, is just to tweak those songs quite a bit, make them kind of a more easy to approach, and not have so much artistic stuff, because now it seems this is kind of like progressive metal gone artsy fartsy. Think of a French art movie, and well, this is kind of the music equivalent, at least when progressive metal and or progressive rock meets kind of extreme metal. So too much stuff, too much different stuff for its own good, and that is, in my opinion, not that good idea. Then again, if you are one of those listeners who just absolutely loves, go over the boundaries and kick some fences down, and you are so fed up already with all the traditional metal albums, be it extreme metal such as Death and Black, or power or heavy metal, or whatever. If progression in the terms of music is something that you totally yearn for and you are dying to get some more, maybe then this is actually your cup of tea and worth listening to. But I would advise, like, lower your expectations for Oceans of Slumber. It's not a bad album. It's better than mediocre, like I said, but hardly anything better than that. So, do your own decisions and check it out or don't. I don't know. And to be frank, maybe I don't even care. Thank you for watching this review, and as always, looking for your comments about the album should you have listened to it, and if not, see you with another review. Rauta going. Bye bye.